Hey horse friends, Kristen Beck here, and in today's video we are continuing to talk about blanketing horses, and in this one we're going to talk about kind of fitting your horse for a blanket. So if you've never fit a horse for a blanket, or if you're in a place where you don't have options to just kind of try some sizes, which typically is what I do because I'm fortunate enough to be in a place where there's a handful of different sizes that
we
I
have
can
a lot
try
of horses
on.
here.
Yeah, so if you have that option, that's really the best way to go because then you're not really guessing too much, you're guessing a little bit, but you can start with certain sizes and be like, okay, a 72, a 76, 74, and up from there, right, and see what fits. And I'll go over in a little bit how you want to check to see if it does fit your horse. But if you were to look online to see how do I measure my horse for a blanket or whatever, they talk about having either a soft measure tape or you can do string and then measure that later. But you start in the middle of the horse's chest and then bring it around across the shoulder all the way back to the tail. And those inches usually indicate roughly your blanket size. Now I say roughly because it's not exact, and some of the considerations you have to think about is your horse's withers. If the horse has really big sharp withers, if your horse is as wide as they are tall, if they're more narrow, if they're very lean, smaller body, but they're longer and everything, that will all play into how the blanket falls around and sits on the horse. So measuring the horse will give you a general frame to start, and usually not often is it going to go down from there, but you might go up from there. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple other considerations too to think about is just the comfort of your horse. So for example, one of our school horses, Chief, he should technically be size 74, but we put him in a 78 because in the size 74, it actually sits on his withers and rubs.
And we always get a high wither brand too.
Yeah. But because it rubbed his withers and all, everywhere else it fit fine, but on the withers it didn't, just because he has a little bit of a taller wither. And so we went up in size to the 78 because that's what sits better for him. It doesn't rub his withers. He's more comfortable in it. Everywhere else it's a little bit loose, but that's okay. We keep the straps done up enough that he's not going to get tangled in them, mm-hmm. but everything else it's just loose and it moves with him, but it doesn't rub his withers and it doesn't cause any soreness.
It is important that you listen to your horse, mm-hmm. and the sizes can change for your horse as your horse ages.
Yeah. Their
withers become more prominent, their back sinks, there's different things that happen.
And it'll also change too on the workload, right? If they develop more muscle or lose a little bit more muscle, put on weight in some way, lose a little bit of weight in some way, fashion, right? It's going to make that fit differently. And then again, your withers, whether they have taller withers, more narrow shoulders, they're wide in the shoulder. That can make the clasp in the front fit differently. Mm-hmm. So everywhere else it could fit fine, but be a little bit tight in the front. Mm-hmm. And then of course, again, like she said, age will make a difference. You know, your 2-year-old is going to have a different size when they're 4 and 6 years old. I actually recently had that with my Mustang Legacy. When I first got her, she was a 69. And then she became a 72, and now she's a 74. And it might change again because she's only 7 right now. So it could potentially get a little bit bigger. I don't know.
And remember, every brand fits differently mm-hmm. as well. And when you buy a blanket, if you don't have the chance to try it on your friend's blankets or whatever else, make sure you buy from a brand or from a place where you can send it back.
Yeah.
So a lot of companies will allow you to try the blanket on your horse and see if it fits, and then send it back as long as it's clean. So one of the things I recommend you do is you put a sheet on underneath your horse and then put the blanket over that. It makes it a lot easier to keep the blanket clean because, horses are dirty no matter. Yeah. And so that is something that's really, I feel like, important to do. In that way, too, you could potentially order a few different styles and a few different sizes at the same time if you're in desperate need and if you have the financial ability to do that as well. And then you send back what doesn't work.
Yeah. And that's a note too, I will say, is when getting a blanket and all, put out a little bit more money than you think you would need. Mm-hmm. Go for the little bit pricier ones. Don't go for the cheap ones. Don't go for the discount ones. Your horse will end up destroying them.
They will. And they also, those materials don't breathe as well too. A lot of times they're cheaper because the threading isn't as good on the blankets, and the waterproofing and the breathability. So you'll get sweatier horses, the straps will break, like she said. And they also, so we have a repair shop here as well for blankets. And
but they're harder to repair.
They are harder to repair.
And sometimes not even really repairable because the material just is so
flimsy.
Yeah,
well, a better word.
Flimsy, weak. It's just, it tears when they try to put it through the machine or something, and they have to do a lot more, and it's just really at the end of the day not worth it. So I personally will go through Schneider's for my blankets. There's a few other brands that you do. Some people use Smart Pack. Some people use get some off of Dover, which I can't remember the brand name off the top of my head. So you have options.
Horseware Ireland's really good too, and Buka's.
Yeah, but go for the bigger kind of known brands. In this case, the brand names are the better option, and it's not worth to try and save a little bit, especially if you think of, okay, you're saving a little bit at the short term, but in the long term, you're going to have to replace and or repair or both more frequently.
Yeah, and some blanket companies come with a warranty on their product, which is awesome. So it's I think that Smart Pack is one of them, and I know Horseware is too, where they have a warranty. If it fails in some way in a certain amount of time, you can send it back, and they send you a new one. I personally like one of the things I like about the Schneiders, because I have a lot of older lesson horses, is the adjustable straps at the neck, so that I can let it out or tighten it up depending on where the horse's withers are at and where their shoulders are at.
Which goes back to, the width of your shoulders, the height, all the different variations and factors that go into fitting a blanket to your horse.
I do also like the Duo system from Horseware. So the Duo system is like a rain sheet on the top and interchangeable liners underneath. I always thought that concept was really cool. Yeah. Because essentially you have one blanket many, and it also, or many blankets in one, and it also makes it really easy to repair, because generally they tear the top part and you can kind of sew and fix that. And then,
and it all comes in. And so we'll, in another video, show you kind of what to look for in what is or is not fitting for your horse, how it sits over the back end too, because again, length of your horse makes a difference. You might measure your horse to 72 or 74, but then it's not actually getting all the way to the back of the tail, and they're wearing a booty shorts.
Yeah, and we'll do an actual how-to on a horse. We'll do how to measure it and how to put one on, and I want to do one too on how to clean a blanket too as well. So
the different things that go into everything.
Yes. So thank you so much for joining us, and comment below.